gang, Spada here, and welcome to a Team Bottomless review of Dark of the Moon, Voyager Megatron. He is a, tanker truck. And I gotta admit, this thing is small. I mean, this thing is tiny. Here's a deluxe class figure, next to a Voyager class figure. Now, yes, I realize the wings add a lot of volume, but the center of this figure is almost the exact same width as the entirety of the Voyager class figure. This is tiny. I don't know why it's so tiny. Now, Hasbro has talked about that they're making figures a little bit smaller to keep costs down. I understand that. But this is frickin' Megatron we're talking about. Anyway, so this figure is, as I said, as a tanker truck, and he does come with this piece of rubber. I think it actually looks really good. I think it looks perfect on the truck mode. One little problem, it doesn't peg in anywhere, and this is really floppy rubber. I mean, this is just a piece of rubbery plastic. We'll get into what this is for in a little bit, but yeah, it's really flexible, really losable, but it just sits back here. Not that big a deal, I'll admit. Looks pretty damn good, though. So we'll take this guy off and put it off to the side. The one thing I found that is really actually cool in this mode is you can totally turn this sucker. I mean, he can turn, which is pretty cool. It's a tanker truck. It can turn, so you can actually pose it kind of like that. The only other weird thing I found is on this figure, one windshield is poking out, one windshield isn't. I have no answer for that. That doesn't make any sense. So let's go ahead and get him transformed. First thing we're going to do is come to the tanker where the spare tires are, kind of wiggle it around and just pop this whole section off. Now this will form the gun, or his cannon, or whatever it's called. It fits on his arm and it looks pretty cool, but it also has another gimmick. Mech Tech. Push this little ladder in the back and twist it. You push the ladder in and then kind of twist it, and you get this kind of grabby claw thing that allows Megatron to blow people's brains out, or cybernetic brains. And I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool. It looks good like that, but I like it deployed fully to give it more of a rail gun or more of a fusion cannon look, because that just looks really cool. I really like that. So we'll put this off to the side. Take a look at the rest of the figure. Now, I'm not going to lie, this transformation is pretty complicated. I was thoroughly impressed when I first saw this transformation, when I first got a hold of this figure. First thing we're going to do is come in, and you see these gray bits right here? There's a little tab for you to get your finger on. So grab it and then flip these back. That's the first step that I like to do. And then what you do from there is you actually collapse these wheels, the rear truck wheels in like that. And then we'll come back here to the rear of the vehicle and actually split this whole rear apart. Now, if you just get your fingers underneath the back, these will pop off right away. And you kind of get your fingers in here and just kind of wiggle it a little gently to get these tabs to open up. Next thing we're going to do is this is actually pretty cool. So what we're going to do is just pull these out and then pull them straight out, and that will give us some hips for him, as you can see here and right there. Then we'll take these rear sections and flip them, or the bottom parts of what will be his legs, and turn them all the way around. Then we'll take this piece right here and flip it up. Don't ask me why. I don't know why they have that little piece there. So, next thing we're going to do is actually come into the side and fold that piece out, or the piece with the rear wheels out, which will let us collapse the rear part of the tanker into what will be the thigh, or the back of the thigh, and then fold the back of the vehicle up to form a toe, and then fold that back down. So we'll do the same thing over here. So this is actually going to be the front of the leg. Take what will be the rear wheels and just push them all the way out to the side. Take the tanker from that and just extend it back and collapse it in to form the back of the leg. And then fold the rear of the tanker up to form the foot, and then collapse the wheel back down and snap into place. And sometimes it snaps into place, sometimes it doesn't. So that is the bottom half of the figure. Now let's look at the top half. This is actually really kind of weird. Take the smokestacks and fold them down and out like that. Then we'll take the we'll come under here underneath the front wheels and fold and unclip what will be the arms and fold them forward thusly. This is where it gets weird, because you have to take the front bumper and lift it up just a little bit. Now normally this black piece is pegged into the bumper right here, right where the tips of my fingers are. You just unpeg that and lift it up slightly. That will allow you to free up this section here and fold it a little bit forward, just a little bit. Doing that will allow you to split the front of the vehicle like this. Now this is where it gets just plain weird, because things don't want to move in the way you want them to. So you kind of have to just, I really hate to say, you really just kind of have to start getting your fingers in here and starting to get a little messy and a little bit in the territory of you could possibly break this thing. And I don't normally like to do that. Oh, the canopy lifts up too. But it's kind of the only way. So if you lift up the canopy a little bit and then fold the front of the, here we go, I'll show you again. Just fold that open like that. And then take this whole section and spin it around. Now this is where this gets pretty crazy. Fold this down, fold the section that is the front bumper of the lower front of the vehicle mode, fold it down just a little bit and start raising up the head. And there's the reason you can go so far is because there's a peg on the piece that the head is attached to. And that will fit right underneath here. And then you can accordion this whole section and peg it into place. And that'll form the chest piece. And kind of pose the head on a ball joint when, damn, the head on my figure is super loose. I don't know what Optobotanist was doing to this poor guy, but it is super loose. Now we just kind of pose the hands and unfold the hands. And here we have Megatron. Now, Megs is lacking some definition on the face. I really feel bad because it feels like the paint schemes were really kind of second thought to these designs, because this is the second figure I have, and the deluxe figure the deluxe Starscream has a much better painted face than the Voyager Megatron. There's a little bit of silver and the red plastic, and that's it. It's not the best face in the world, but it's not bad. So in this mode, you can put the cannon, peg it onto either arm. I normally like to just go with the right one because, well, gotta go with the classic. And then you can deploy the Mech Tech, which looks pretty badass, I have to say. One problem though, this deploying the cannon really makes the figure top heavy, so you gotta be careful. The legs are a little loose, but not too bad. And the knees are super, super loose on my figure for some reason. But they are enough to actually get the figure in they're stiff enough to get the figure in some good poses. So, what we're talking about this thing. Well, this little bit folds out to become a Shaw. And just kind of fold, you kind of gotta fudge it a little bit. Now, what you can do is this piece pops off very easily. So what I like to do is actually just kind of wiggle this piece off. And the Shaw can go, the Shaw has a peg, or rubber peg, that pegs into that slot right there. So it doesn't peg in real well because it's soft rubbery plastic, not hard plastic that, would slide into a hole easily. But it'll get in there. Not well, I might add. The problem is the head doesn't like to go into that mode either. And then just kind of, what I like to do is just kind of get it so that it looks okay. Doesn't really fit well on it. And then reattach this piece just up here. Like that. It doesn't have to be tight, but just for the heck with it, I'm not going to do that right now. But, I rather dig this figure. I really do. I wish there was a slightly better paint scheme. That's just me. I'm sure there's going to be I'm sure Japan or Takara will make a nice bright metal repaint of this figure. But you know what? On the 16th of May, I really recommend picking this guy up. I do have one issue. One issue alone. This is a Voyager class figure. This is a Deluxe Class Generations figure. There's not much difference in height. I'm not going to lie. This figure feels much bigger for some reason than this guy does. It's not I'm not saying it's bad though. Oh, one thing I did forget is on the chest, you do open this up and you do angle it. These bits slide so you can angle them like that. Sorry, forgot about that. Oh, and yeah, the head is super, super loose. I don't know what's wrong with this ball joint, but I could have the head upside down and not know it. But I recommend this guy, even with the issue that I have with the head. I think the Shaw makes the figure look cool, even if it is a little weak. The figure the face just doesn't work in the Shaw, or the head on my figure is so loose that putting the shroud over him doesn't really work all that well. But he still looks good. He's still Megatron, and by far this is the best Voyager Megatron we've had. This one, then Revenge of the Fallen, and then there was that first movie one, but I think I burned that one. Anyway, I would recommend this guy. I really would. I think you'll like him, and I think you should pick him up and get him in your collection, because you know what? He's pretty darn cool. Transformation is a little bit crazy, though, but with some practice, you'll get it. And like I said, I recommend this one. I think he's totally worth picking up.